Hello, everyone. Welcome to my house for an AMA. I think Zach is joining me, and then we're going to take some questions. Hope you're all doing all right. Today was a big day, a very, very busy day. We have a podcast launching today, which is very, very exciting, and we launched this anti-racism campaign, We Are All Americans, which I hope everyone thought was positive and uplifting in terms of the main video, which will hopefully have sequels. The NBA is looking to get involved and join in. So that's very exciting. Look at this. Who's then going to curate questions. Let's see if this works. Oh, wonders of technology. Introducing Zach.
What's up, y'all?
Hello, look at this. It's the Yang Graumann Instagram Live. Yay.
You're looking better than me in this quarantine situation. My hair's getting long, man.
It looks good. I mean, the long hair looks not bad on you, Zach. I mean, you look a little
broy.
No, I was going to say a little European. Okay.
I don't know if that's better.
You know what I mean? I feel like the Europeans wear it a little bit like a
little man bun situation.
Or just a little, yeah, just a little bit longer generally. Do you have a European accent that you can affect for us?
Not really, man. Like my London accent, my British accent, pretty bad.
You don't look like British. You can like pull off like
it's like Norwegian or
you can
Swiss.
pull off like a German. what's a German
That would make sense.
be like I can't do it. Forget it.
I can't either do it. I can't do it. I'm embarrassed myself right here. How are you, man?
Generally good. Yeah, it's been a busy day. Excited. Hopefully people will enjoy the podcast because that's like, like something I'm really excited about, proud of. So if you haven't done so already, you can go to yangspeaks.com or Apple or Spotify and go wherever podcasts are.
We're number 29 on Apple right now. We launched at noon, so that's pretty exciting.
Wow, good for us.
Yeah, and climbing.
Yeah, I'm sure Jack Dorsey's tweet helped. Like, it's nice of Jack to say he's one of the subscribers. So I don't know how many subscribers we have, but
that's true. It'll be helpful too as we get cooler guests on than just me. That'll help subscriptions, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. So yeah, pull out some questions. What else aside from? So we had the two big announcements today, and we're always working on something new. But yeah, it's Yang Speaks, and then All Americans. We have some other things cooking up. We'll be endorsing some candidates in a little bit. So hopefully people will be excited about that. And Nancy Pelosi came out for universal basic income today. I mean, that was enormous.
Huge day. Never thought we'd see that. We didn't think we'd see it that quickly,
Yeah.
So I have a bunch
of Nancy's down, it's happening, There's I mean,
it's incredible, man. So I want to address this because I think it's funny. What do you, and you're seeing a lot in the comments, what do you say to people when they tell you that you sold out to CNN?
It's funny. Like, we stopped running and then CNN reached out to say, hey, do you want to do some commentary? And at the time we were like, how the heck are we going to even stay in the public eye? It's like you stopped running for president and then we weren't sure what our visibility level was going to be. And so I said, sure, on a short-term basis. And I was on both sides because they, frankly, I'm sure they weren't sure if they were going to want to keep me around. And
right.
I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. So we just said, let's do this for a little while. So to me, it's hard to think of it as like selling out when literally when we were running for president, we were fighting to get on those networks.
We were begging them to cover us. That's nuts.
Yeah, and then it's like, hey, do you want to come on the network? And you can talk about stuff, and obviously occasionally. So one thing I will say too that most people probably don't realize is they do not really control what you're talking about up there. You think that they have some kind of strict instructions or format. They don't. They just like put you up and are just like, hey, like try and do your best to share something that you believe that's interesting. And I think if people watch me on CNN, it's like I'm saying a lot of the same things I said on the campaign trail.
Almost identical. And like for you, you don't, it's not your career to be on there. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have your own show. You're not like a ratings, subject to the fickle ratings. You can just go on there and say what you want. And if it's entertaining, great. And if not, you go do other things.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, I mean, because I did say to Zach on the trail, I was like, hey, if I ever turn into just another talking head, shoot me in the head.
You say that a lot. And I would be like, you should start a TV show. And you'd be like, if I become a talking head, I'm out. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that'd just be really dark. It would remind me of that Black Mirror episode, where the guy like rages.
Oh, yeah.
And they give him a TV show at the end.
Yep.
You don't want that. So, So I think this is a great arrangement personally, where it's like, I feel like we can add value, get messages out, frankly, introduce more Americans to my face and voice, and just normalize Andrew Yang, because when we started it out, like I was a non-entity to many, many Americans.
I think people don't realize how amazing it is when you've got a new program or initiative, or you want to give an opinion on something. You just call up CNN. It's like, hey, can I hop on a show tonight? Or you call up one of your friends there. It's like, hey, can you put me on? And so you can still rattle the cage, but also we don't have to beg for coverage. It's been fantastic, and they don't tell you what to say.
No,
I love it.
I've been pleasantly it's like it's been a good arrangement so far. Hey there, sorry, I just had a guest. I don't know if he wants to come over and say hello. Hey, Damien, you want to come say hello to thousands of people? No? All right. Yeah, no.
How are the kids doing in quarantine, man? You guys all right?
Generally, they are doing fine. They're too young to miss civilization. One of them did say he missed Chuck E. Cheese, but generally they're okay.
Okay. So what I thought we'd get on here for like another 15 or 20 minutes or so and just kind of talk about the podcast and what you're doing. It launched today. It's great. We will have guests on. There'll be times when Andrew just talks. I think keeping people on their toes is great. I'll start a question for you, Andrew. The people wondering what's next, which we do talk about the podcast, what's next post-corona? What are you seeing? I mean, feel free to talk about what you think is the future of work, society, our government. Like, what's your outlook right now?
My outlook is very, very bleak because we have demolished tens of millions of jobs, and they're not coming back. And there's this very human reflex to think, okay, well, things are bad now and then they'll get better later. And that's not really the way things work in a lot of these environments. One joke I told that is probably a little dark, but I said, it's not like the Roman Empire made a comeback. It's not like after it crumbled, it's like, whoa, but it's going to come back stronger than ever. It's like, no, it's actually just dead. And, a lot of the economy is just dead, and there's no requirement that it's going to go from dead to vital and awesome again, unless we somehow make it so. So the future, most people who follow me know that I had deep concerns about the future before the crisis.
Right.
The crisis has accelerated many of the trends I was concerned about. And so we're going to have to do much, much more in the way of solutions, universal basic income, humanize the economy, just rethink the way value gets distributed and produced in our society and how it gets measured.
Right.
So we need to make big moves, because I've got a very bleak view of the future, absent some massive Marshall Plan scale initiative to rebuild the country. The country's not just going to rebuild itself.
Right.
It's going to need a jumpstart. And like it or not, the jumpstart is almost certainly going to have to come from the federal government.
I've seen this question 3 or 4 times pop up. How does it feel? It's a joke, but it's funny. How does it feel to be able to say, I told you so, now that you're seeing a lot of the stuff you predicted play out? It's probably a mixed bag, right? Where it's really dark and disheartening, but also decent to know you you called it.
Well, I'm just grateful to everyone who supported the campaign, you, Zach, for jumping on board from day one, and then everyone, the hundreds of thousands of people who donated to the campaign, and the millions who've, not donated. What were you waiting for? No, I'm kidding. Just anyone who supported us, hopefully you feel good about the fact that, we advanced solutions that the country ended up adopting and needing very, very soon thereafter. It's a terrible feeling that we're in the midst of this pandemic. I mean, it's catastrophic for so many people, families. I mean, people losing loved ones and jobs, and any sense of the future, and kids not being able to graduate, and just all this messed up stuff. But I have to say, I hope the Yang Gang feels like we really, really helped move our country and world forward, because I certainly have that sense. And so I'm just grateful to everyone. I will say, I feel a great deal of responsibility, because I feel like a lot of energy has come towards us since the campaign ended, because everyone's like, oh, Yang was right about a lot of this stuff. And then now people are interested in what we have to say. That's one reason why I'm excited about the podcast, because, we don't have to try to pack it into 6 minutes or even an hour. You can let it breathe over many hours.
Right.
And it, it gets our wheels turning too, because universal basic income, yes, but then what's on top of that? What does the Marshall Plan look like? And Zach, I'm working on what the new plan looks like. I have some ideas, but we need to formulate it. And then what is the best way to formulate it? But then to have experts come in and you can pick their brain for an hour, and then everyone can learn from it. And then you're like, oh, you know what? I need to talk to an expert on geopolitics. I need to talk to an expert on technology's impact on the young. I need to talk to and so, it's all in the building phase again. And the podcast is a big part of that, because we have to help advance the next set of solutions. We've advanced universal basic income, and the job's not done because it's not passed and we don't have it.
Right.
But I'm pretty confident. I think a lot of people watching this, it's that shit's gonna happen. It's
we're on the right trajectory.
Yeah. So then, but that's not gonna be enough. What comes next?
So a lot of positive comments as you were saying that, which warms my heart. I think a lot of people on average do feel that. A really thoughtful question I thought is that, okay, you're talking about the future society and future work. We do need to evolve. That said, another one of these will set us back too. Do you think, how confident are you that we're good for the next pandemic? If this ever happened again, would we learn our lessons? What major change need to happen in the short run to prevent this quarantine, situation we're in now?
It's been just a terrible tragedy how badly our government has mishandled this. And it's not solely our government, but a lot of it's our government. I mean, you got to look and say, we were not on the ball at all. And even now, when you see these stories come out where we still don't have testing, we still don't have the right data. You have governors just doing end arounds, getting tests straight from South Korea, because we don't have any rhyme or reason on who gets tests and what the priorities are. And the feds are outbidding the states, and the rich states are outbidding the poor states. It's just a total fiasco. Still, I mean, I don't know if people realize that some good's being done out there every day, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it's still just a total mess.
Yeah.
So am I confident that we'd be able to head off the next pandemic? Why would you be? It's you need you need some stuff to be demonstrated. It's hey, what's the ventilator count? Do we have emergency ventilators? Hey, what's our PPE store? Do we have domestic manufacturing? Hey, do we have testing? Hey, do we have a dedicated group of people whose job it is to try and head this stuff off as soon as we get a whiff of it?
Right.
And the story I've been telling is, my cousin landed in China a number of weeks ago, and someone landed greeted her at the airport, took her temperature, brought her to her apartment, put a monitor on the door, said don't leave for 2 weeks, came back every day to make sure that she was still there and to check her temperature. Now that sounds terribly miserable to most of us listening to that. It's and most of us don't necessarily even want to be in a country, land in a country where it's that's the norm. But that would help identify people who were infected and help you trace contacts. And so you'd only have confidence that we could head off a pandemic if you saw that we had the resources in place to take those kinds of steps if they were deemed necessary. And right now, we know we don't have that capacity.
Right. Theoretically, we would if you were president, you know, but
I genuinely think it's like, I'm one of the jokes I told was like, if you had to charge companies pandemic insurance before this pandemic, they would have been like, I'm not paying that in a million years. But now if you charge a Fortune 500 company
pandemic insurance,
0.001%, they'd be like, sure. Just like pay people to freaking greet that person at the airport because, it has done a total number on my business.
You called this in early January, if I recall, and tweeted about it. I think I was on the bus when you tweeted it.
Yeah, it was, and then Bloomberg asked me about it, and I said, like, we should be following people when they get off the airport, like, get off the plane. And the Bloomberg reporter looked at me like I was insane, and I was like, well, if you have a choice as a country between doing too much or too little on this one, if you hope it's a false alarm.
Yeah.
But if it's not a false alarm, like we're screwed. And I will say, like, even though I was like all over what I think would be like appropriate measures, even I was stunned at like the pace at which we went to community spread and we all were sent home. Like that stuff was
right.
Was shocking, because like you figured that we'd be better than this. I mean, like, this is coming from a guy who was arguing that we were like a complete wreck.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny, like that. Yeah. Like, I recognize our limitations, but even I thought we'd be more on the ball with something, because we had warning. It's like it was happening in other. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You've called. You said whether we like it or not, and a lot of our supporters may not like this, but we're entering the era of big government. You want to talk a little more about that and what you mean by that, or how you see government, frankly, being forced to expand?
Yeah, like, we're talking about a $21 trillion fire, because that's the size of our annual economy, and the economy's on fire. There's no entity that has the resources to put out that fire but the federal government. We've already put out like, 2.7 trillion and counting. Like, that's the scale of the problem. And that's why the government's going to be the center of the universe for a while. Now, when I say for a while, I mean probably for like a decade. Now, the ideal world would be for the federal government to put money into our hands, money into like our nonprofits, companies, small businesses, hospitals, state governments, and then let us also dig out. Like, right. I'm not saying that the federal government has to do all of the operations, but the federal government needs to allocate the resources, because there's no other entity that can do so.
It's going to be, it sucks when we've been bashing and talking about how our government's not ready for something like this, and now we're living to something like this, and we're living in our house. A lot of questions for you about how you're coping with, or how Evelyn and the kids are doing, how you're coping in the house. You guys hanging in there all right?
Yeah, we're good, really, in the scheme. I mean, I remind myself every day, I'm healthy, my family's healthy, we have a house, you can see through my window, it's like there are trees outside, I can just walk outside and, breathe fresh air, and if the weather is like good, I can like go for, like a run or play basketball with myself, because my kids don't ball. At that level, they're 7 and 4, they're not like LeBron's kids. I mean, I watch some of that shit, and like you have like 7-year-olds like draining hoops on regulation hoops. It's not my 7-year-old. My 7-year-old's like anyway. So yeah, like in the scheme of things, like we're in good shape. I just feel a really strong desire to help people every day, because I know, thanks to you all, thanks to the Yang Gang, thanks to you, Zach, and so many other people, like, we can help. I think the podcast is part of helping. Like, just putting good stuff out there is helpful. I think All Americans is helpful. I think giving people money is obviously helpful. I think pressuring Congress to pass UBI is helpful. Like anything we can do to help. But yeah, like I'm generally pretty good though. Like I've missed my family a lot, so being stuck with them is like not the worst thing.
Opposite. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit extreme. I went from way too little to a little bit too much, but still,
it's true.
like, like, I mean, right now, too much doesn't feel so bad.
Right. The a lot of comments right now are talking about like tips of staying home and tips of staying sane. Are you reading a lot? Like anything fun that you do to balance your family time with you? I guess mental health is something you talked a lot about on the trail. Anything you've been doing to keep your
Yeah,
sanity?
no, I think it's really important in this environment for some good practices. So I'm going to say something that's terribly ironic given what we're doing right now. But I think screen time is the main variable. Like if you have too much screen time in a given day, particularly late at night, like don't crawl into bed with that phone. I know it's tempting because you had that one YouTube video that trailed into the next one. But if you can just try to like keep your screen time to like some like simulation of even like I'm gonna call it like an office day, and then like when you come back from the office, like maybe you go to the gym ordinarily, so like maybe you should try and do that. Like maybe you can spend some time preparing yourself a meal. I think that's one of the big indicators of how you're going to do. And you mentioned reading, Zach. Reading books has been demonstrated to be good for your frame of mind. Also good for your frame of mind, fresh air and the outdoors. So exercise. I'd say those are three things that if you were to take to heart, exercise, some kind of outdoor time if you can, and I'm sorry if you can't, I'm really sorry. Maybe even just open the window. I mean, just anything. And reading.
Yeah.
If you were to pursue those three things and then cut screen time to some reasonable level and make sure it doesn't go to bed with you, I think those things are very, very helpful and positive. Something else that helps me is writing or journaling. Just helps me. I don't know if that helps others. So those are some of the things I would say that help make your days. The other thing I've said is like try and give yourself a victory every day. It can be the dumbest thing in the world. Like it can be just like, hey, I like what like I did my laundry. Like that's a victory. I like exercise is a victory. I called someone is a victory. Like I took care
Cook
of that
something.
stupid cooked something, took care of that stupid bill, did my census. Like if you haven't done your census, you should do that. Like anything that looks like that is a victory. Yeah.
It's a good plug because we're having one of the guests we had on early was Jean Twangy, who wrote the book called iGen about what screen time is doing to our kids. She had a lot of tips. She recommended glasses, which I thought seemed extreme, but it's probably effective because it's probably taking a toll on our eyes too.
Well, she recommended glasses that block this thing that comes off of our screens that makes it. I think it's the daytime. I think it's called blue light. So if you want to buy glasses to block that light, you can get them at Felix Gray is the stylish one, and then there are non-stylish ones available cheap on Amazon or wherever. But I'm sure she's right because she's a really smart lady. Yeah, we're gonna post that episode hopefully sometime soon because I enjoyed that convo a lot.
Yeah. So a couple fun questions I thought would just be interesting now, and then we'll sign off, let people go back to not being on the screen.
Indeed.
That is hilarious. I've actually never heard your thoughts on this. In a battle, Spider-Man versus Wolverine, who wins?
Spider-Man, I think. I mean, he's like. So I'm going to do some math. This is gonna be really geeky.
This is what I wanted. Yes.
But Spider-Man can approximately lift like 10 tons. It's like 20,000 pounds. And Wolverine can lift approximately whatever, like a really, 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 really strong, like maybe like 500 to 1,000. Like Spider-Man's literally like 10 to 20 times stronger than Wolverine. So he should be able to. He's better in all the measurables except like lethality, really.
Right. I think you're right. He can go kind of airborne too with the webs. You're probably right.
Also in Hollywood terms, he's a bigger star. He's a bigger franchise, and like the bigger franchise wins.
You might be. How many movies has Hugh Jackman made? 4 or 5, 3 or 4.
Yeah, but like the Spider-Man
Spider-Man's a
franchise
lot more.
is like
Yeah.
doubtless cooler. Especially the last X-Men movie like tanked. I mean, I'm sorry for people who were involved with it, but
Yeah, I watched
um,
it. Sorry. That was a plane movie when we were on our way to Iowa. Um, Someone asked, I think it's interesting. How often, I know this answer, but for everybody, how often do you get to talk to the other Democratic candidates? You guys stay in touch?
we text. We tend to talk when there's something to talk about. So I'll get calls from someone if there's something that they, frankly, like want a hand with, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But that happens not that infrequently. So I probably text or call another candidate like, a couple times a week.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, you can probably tell, like I texted a bunch of them for this All Americans campaign. That's why they
which was badass. Like, it was pretty cool. And pretty cool that you got like Dr. Oz tweeted it, and like it was a random assortment of people passionate about this. And it's important, like, not to make light of it, like what the numbers on this are terrifying when you talk about the crisis text line. That campaign is really important.
Yeah, like the use of the crisis text line is more than doubled. These are people looking to harm themselves. It's really depressing, and it's related to obviously mental health. Yeah, so I'm glad that people saw that this campaign is important, and it's important too to what happens in the fall, because Trump is going to be framing this virus in racial terms. He's going to be just saying, "Hey, this is a Chinese effort," and like if he succeeds in that, then some people could get confused and say, yeah, like Trump's trying to protect us against the Chinese, as opposed to Trump screwed up, like, and we're all inside because we didn't do our best to head off this pandemic in January instead of March.
Well, thank you for doing that on behalf of all of us. I thought the video was cool too. Third thing, I forgot to tell you this. It's Cory Booker's birthday today. Did you know?
Oh shit! I'll text him. Happy birthday! Thank you.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll tweet something. I'll do something. Thank you, though.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I'll
Yeah.
set up a text message.
That just reminded me. Cory Booker was. I came in this kind of as a moderate. Like, he was really fun on the trail. Like you see him in the behind the scenes. He was like a bear hug type guy. Light up a room. Just for you guys, in case you're curious at home, fascinating, exciting guy. So happy birthday, Cory Booker.
Happy birthday,
Andrew.
Cory's a good dude. Like I've known him for a while, but we got to know each other much better on the trail, and I was always just really excited to see him.
Most of the questions on here, Andrew, have actually been, are you going to run again? I will say, and I'll let you comment on it too, I'll say we're not ruling anything out, and we're excited to. I think it'd be stupid to not do something again, but TBD what we run for. I don't know if you want to chime in, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to run for something, and we're going to run to win.
Yeah. Is it mayor? Is it governor? Is it president? Is it head of your PTO for your kid's school? Who knows?
It's PTA, bro, and Evelyn's already the co-president. So
PTA. What's the difference in PTA, PTO?
I don't know. We have a president in the family already, and it's Evelyn because she's the co-president of the PTA.
Sorry, man. Last thing I'll say is, so one of the cool things about the podcast is we get random products to see if we want to promote them. And Andrew and I got sent scooters, and they're freaking amazing. So you should post your video.
Well, I feel like that's like a quasi endorsement, right? Are we like doing this?
Oh yeah, we gotta be careful. So hopefully, what I'd love to get, man, is get those discounted for the Yang Gang. I think that'd be cool because they're pretty awesome.
The scooter was hella fun. So certainly if we decide that, it's like that, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Andrew texted me, he's like, you need to stop what you're doing and go ride the scooter real quick. It is
it's one of like the slick tricked out ones. It's like,
it's badass.
Yeah. Anyway, it was crazy.
It was, yeah.
I mean, my kids were like, "Can we go on? Is that for adults?" And I was like, "You can't go on this thing. This thing's like,
no, it's too fast." Yeah, it goes like 15 miles an hour, which is fast. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. We wanted to let you know Yang Speaks is live. Yangspeaks.com has it all, but it's on Apple. It should be on Spotify. They're all there. Andrew, any closing comments, remarks? parting words.
Just want to thank you all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and let's take care of each other. We're going to get through this, and the way we're going to get through this is just by staying human and being good to yourself first and foremost. It's hard to take care of someone else if you don't take care of yourself. So, just do what you can. It's hard, I know, because when you're alone in the house for a day, it's like you realize that how reliant you were on seeing other people for like a lot of basic motivations.
Right.
So, but like ritualize, like pretend that you're going to go out and see people, and then maybe just like beam in for like a Zoom or do something, because these days count too. And we have to stay healthy so we can help both ourselves and each other.
Yes, sir. My family and I got in a car like we were gonna go somewhere, and it was amazing. We like went around the block, but not that I'd necessarily recommend that. But hey, whatever works for you guys.
I did the same thing. I drove nowhere, and it still helped because there was this brief moment when I just felt like I was just going someplace, and I was listening to the radio, and everything felt normal, and that was enough.
We never packed the car quickly, and we packed it so fast. We were just like ready. Anyway, so thank you guys. We hope we'll have more on the podcast. It's very exciting. Every Monday is going to drop, but we'd love you to listen to the first episode. And Yang Gang, we love you. We'll see you later.
Love you all. Stay safe out there. See you soon, Zach. Bye, everyone.
Later, Andrew.